Before the treachery that would sunder the galaxy and burn 1,000,000 worlds, there was a single pivotal moment. A choice, born of pride and poison, that set the brightest star in the Imperium on a course for damnation. This is the story of the first betrayal, the murder that began the Horus Heresy. The triumph at Ulanor was the apex of the Great Crusade. From the bridge of his flagship, the Vengeful Spirit, Horus Lupercal surveyed a victorious armada. He was the War Master, first among the Primarchs, the Emperor's most favored son. Yet, at the height of his glory, the seed of bitterness was sown. In a brief, sterile farewell, the Emperor announced his return to Terra, his great work there shrouded in secrecy. As Horus watched his father's vessel recede into the void, the immense weight of the crusade settled upon his shoulders. He was left to conquer the stars alone, and in the silence of his command, a flicker of resentment began to burn. On the star charts, countless systems awaited compliance, and while his Mournival offered counsel, the final, solitary burden of decision was his and his alone. The 63rd Expeditionary Fleet pushed onward, and in the void they encountered a civilization unlike any they had known. The Interix were not a lost tribe to be subjugated, but an enlightened human empire, advanced and harmonious. The Astartes of the Sons of Horus walked their pristine cities in awe, witnessing a culture that embraced art and reason, and lived peacefully alongside alien species. Horus and his inner circle were shown a museum, a place the Interix used to study the very enemy the Imperium sought to deny, chaos. They displayed artifacts of defeated chaotic powers, explaining that they understood this nemesis, this chaos, and had developed ways to combat its influence without resorting to the ignorance of the imperial truth. For a moment, a different path for humanity seemed possible. A future built on understanding, not just conquest. But in the shadows of that hope, a serpent coiled. Erebus of the Word-Bearers, a secret devotee to the dark gods, saw the Interix's harmony as an existential threat to his master's designs. Unseen, he moved through the museum and stole a blade of terrible power. The Anathem, a weapon capable of poisoning a soul. The theft of the Anathem shattered the fragile peace. When its absence was discovered, accusations flew, and the air crackled with suspicion. Erebus's hidden agents, cultists posing as Imperials, launched a chaotic attack, framing the Interix and plunging the delicate negotiations into violence. The once peaceful civilization was forced to defend itself, their actions twisted by lies and whispers to appear as an unprovoked, treacherous assault. Enraged by what he perceived as a vicious betrayal, Horus was deaf to any counsel for peace. The whispers of Erebus, now a trusted advisor, stoked the fires of his pride and resentment. He saw not a misunderstanding, but a direct challenge to his authority and the Imperium's destiny. The War Master, the Master Diplomat, rejected all other options. He declared the Interix traitors to mankind. The order was given. The compliance became an extermination. The campaign was brutal, efficient, and absolute. Beautiful cities that had awed the Sons of Horus were turned to ash and rubble. The enlightened society that offered a glimpse of a different future was systematically scoured from existence. From the bridge of the Vengeful Spirit, Horus watched the fires consume a world, his face a mask of cold, hard certainty. The noble warrior of Ulanor was gone, replaced by something harder, something colder. This was the point of no return. This act of murder was not just the destruction of a civilization. It was the death of a part of Horus himself. The first and most crucial step on his journey into everlasting darkness. And so, the first true betrayal was complete, setting the stage for the cataclysm that was to come.
In the grand tapestry of humanity's sprawling history, there are moments of unparalleled glory and epochs of profound tragedy. Before the encroaching darkness, there was a golden age, a time of reconquest and reunification known as the Great Crusade. At its very forefront stood War Master Horus Heresy, first among equals, the favored son of the Emperor of Mankind. His brilliance as a strategist and a warrior was unmatched, a beacon of hope for the nascent Imperium. The fleets under his command were vast beyond counting, stretching from one end of the galaxy to the other, bringing countless lost worlds back into the fold. Aboard his flagship, the Vengeful Spirit, Horus led his legion, the Sons of Horus, to one victory after another. He was the very embodiment of the Emperor's vision, a symbol of a united and triumphant humanity, destined for greatness. This grand destiny, however, would be shattered on the desolate, swamp-ridden moon of Davin. During a campaign to bring the world into compliance, Horus was struck down not by a common blade, but by the Kinebrak Anathar, a weapon steeped in the foul energies of the war. The wound festered with more than mere poison. It was a conduit for corruption, a spiritual sickness that no mortal medicine could heal. As the War Master fell into a deep and unnatural coma, his body teetering on the precipice of death, his untethered spirit was pulled from the material realm. He was cast adrift into the roiling, non-Euclidean sea of the Imperium, the chaotic dimension that lurks just beyond the veil of reality, where gods of madness and despair lie in wait. Within this maelstrom of raw emotion and psychic energy, Horus was no longer a master of his own fate. His journey through the warp was a carefully orchestrated deception, masterminded by the treacherous first chaplain of the Word Rise, Erebus, who had long ago fallen to the temptations of chaos. The ruinous powers, ancient and malevolent deities of the war, seized their opportunity. They assailed Horus's vulnerable spirit with a torrent of twisted visions and half-truths. He was shown a future of cold, sterile tyranny, where an enthroned emperor was worshipped as a god, a future where the Primarchs and their legions were deemed obsolete and violently purged after their purpose was served. These visions preyed upon his deepest fears and his warrior's pride, planting seeds of resentment and doubt against the father he had so loved and revered. Just as the tendrils of corruption began to take irreversible hold, a final desperate plea for reason pierced the veil of lies. Its shimmering crimson figure appeared before Horus in the warped gloom. It was his brother, Magnus the Red, Primarch of the Thousand Suns. Through forbidden sorcery, Magnus had projected his own essence across the galaxy to warn Horus, to expose the Chaos God's manipulation and beg him to see the truth. But the poison of doubt had run too deep. Fueled by a lifetime of ambition and a growing sense of betrayal, Horus perceived his brother's intervention not as a rescue, but as yet another attempt by the Emperor to control him. In a climactic moment of hubris and despair, he shattered Magnus's astral form, rejecting the final chance at salvation and turning instead to embrace the limitless power the Chaos Gods offered him. The War Master awoke from his coma, a changed being. The noble hero who had championed the Great Crusade was gone, replaced by a vessel of cosmic malice and ambition. His eyes burned with the unholy light of the warp, and his soul was now bound to the very entities he had once sworn to destroy. Standing before his legion, he renounced his sacred oaths to the Emperor and the Imperium. With the cry, "Death to the false Emperor," Horus Heresy declared his rebellion, an act of ultimate betrayal that would ignite the galaxy in the fires of civil war. The Horus Heresy had begun, and the Age of Darkness had finally dawned, casting a shadow that would stretch across 10,000 years.